Bachelor's Way, making secondhand chic. Hey, it's Ronda with Bachelor's Way. I'm back with more on our basement project. Today I wanted to talk about, in the basement I kind of want to add some warmth and some coziness with some rock that has lots of browns and grays to go with the cool grayness of the cabinets that I painted. So today it's going to be all about the rock. First, I just wanted to remind you of all the extra steps that we took that are behind the walls that you can't see. Okay, call me crazy, but we planned for a big TV to watch movies on and a small TV to put above the fireplace for the kids to play video games on. We ran PVC pipe in the walls to make channels to run wiring from behind the TVs to electronic cabinets, so you wouldn't see any wires when we were finished. We also ran a vertical pipe to help hide the wires in the big electronic cabinet. We altered some brackets with our hammer to suit our purposes. Next, we needed to lay our tile that we got at the restore that we were going to use for our countertop and for the hearth. Before we could do the rock, the tile had to go down. Okay, so I showed you that we got these tiles from the restore, and they have like this beveled edge. So we cut off a little bit off of each end so that we could fit them in here, and then we have this seam right here. We glued them down with silicone caulk, and they're drying. And we have this really, really tiny, you can see right here, seam. And we didn't want to put colored caulk in there because it was too light and it was emphasizing the crack. So here's our plan. Yeah, we're gonna pretend like we're in preschool, and when it's all good and dry, I'm gonna come back and melt and color a little bit of these colored crayons in here to fill in that gap. I used multiple colors that were already existing in the stone, and it worked well in some places, but it didn't really fill in the gap like I was hoping. I didn't show this, but I also tried melting a little bit of it, but it just didn't really go in that crack. Here's how it ended up looking. I really needed some sort of colored epoxy, so anyone who knows what I could use, let me know. Leave it in the comments. For now, I'm just going to leave it and move on. So we also got these matching tiles at a different restore, but they're the same type of marble, and we laid them for our hearth in front of our fireplace. But we only had 3, so we didn't want to buy a whole bag of mortar. So what we did is we used silicone caulk, and we put it down, and then we used a colored silicone caulk that we put between them. So you can see that. It just kind of gives them a little bit of buffer protection between the two of them. So once it's all good and dry, and then we just have this really fine line. I'll have to go back with a razor blade and clean up just a little bit more, but that saved us a lot of time and energy. We were finally ready to install the rock. First step was to prep the surfaces. There were basically 2 choices that we came down to. One was putting up cement board, and the second one was you put up black paper and then chicken wire, and you have to do a scratch coat of mud in it. We chose to put up cement board. We thought it might be a little bit easier, and in the first part it was easier, but when we got to installing the rock, I think it would have been better if we'd done the black paper and scratch coat. But either way really worked. Remember our rock that we bought at the restore for $100? Yes, it was a killer deal. But then we had to store it, and we built this box on wheels, and we've been pushing it around the basement for months now. We were finally ready to use all this rock. So our biggest question was how to get the rock laid out nicely and then up on the wall. So our first thing was to draw a pattern on the floor. We had to do this for the section where we were going to put the TV, and then also over by the fireplace. We also had to draw a pattern there and pick all the rock and put it in place there. So this was like hunt and peck. Okay, here's the plan. As always, it's just a plan. We laid all these stones out as best we could on our little drawing on the floor. And now we're going to try to transfer this over there onto the wall. Wish us luck. Ready, set, rock. Using mortar, we begin to transfer the rock piece by piece to the wall. This is where we noticed it was harder for the mortar and the rock to grab hold of the cement board. Anyways, this process is just like a giant puzzle. Les and our daughter Ashley actually made a really great team of putting this puzzle together. So I just let them put the rock up and I became the rock cutter, cutting each piece of rock that had to be cut. I went outside and used the wet saw. If you notice, I'm wearing a rain poncho to help protect myself. The next day, we worked on the section that's going to go behind the TV, and Ashley wasn't available, so Brandon stepped in and was very helpful for his dad, and I remained the faithful rock cutter. After the mortar dried, we used a dark tinted mortar to grout. It took us a while to get the right consistency and to figure out the right amount of time to let it dry before we started smoothing the grout. But in the end, we were happy with how it turned out. So here's the fireplace section, all done and pretty. And here is the TV section where our giant TV is gonna go. I think it turned out pretty great. In the end, we actually had a lot of rock left over and we sold it to someone for $100, so our rock ended up being free and we finally had an empty rock box.